Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show. All right, ladies, I have another great iTunes review of the week. This one is brought to you by Mojo on the Island, and it reads, I am almost 60 years old and have spent probably 50 years worrying about my weight. I just listened to one of Kim's podcasts and loved her advice and outlook. I wish I could have heard this years ago, but looking forward to listening to more and changing my attitude. Oh, Moy on the Island. This is exactly why I do this podcast, because so many of us have been wrapped around the axle about diet and exercise for decades, and we are done. We are sick of it. And I am so grateful that you are able to find me, and I'm grateful that I'm able to help you shift your mindset around what diet and exercise looks like for the next best half of your life. So if you have listened to this podcast and you love what you are hearing, please do the same thing. Leave me a review. I absolutely love hearing them. I love reading them. And it just gives me that pat on the back that I am giving you what you need to hear. Now, if you're stuck with I don't know how to do this, I don't listen to iTunes, do me a favor, hit me up. I will definitely help you, walk you through how to leave that review. So you can find me on Instagram at Kim Jefferson Coach, or you can shoot me an email, hello@kimbarnesjefferson.com. All right. Now on to today's episode. All right, magic makers. Today I'm doing something a little bit different, and it's going to be a little deeper dive. I share all of my life with you, but today's going to be a little bit of a deeper dive into my mindset shift, right? So I want you to picture that when I used to do a fitness competition, I think many of you guys knew that. So I'm about 2 weeks out from a show, but it's also my birthday. And my husband just sent me a text that he was able to find a restaurant that can serve me asparagus with white fish. And seriously, right? My husband couldn't just take me out to dinner for my birthday. He really had to dig into my crazy. And I was just like, you know what? I don't know if I've ever felt, have you ever felt like your healthy lifestyle was actually stealing your life? Felt like you're doing all the things, but your health is clouding everything you do in your life. Well, stick around. This is going to be a good one. So that year, I skipped the show, right? I called my coach and I said, I couldn't do it. I was out. I literally, after, I got the text from my husband, I cried myself. I cried myself through my workout, right? I walked in the door and I told myself that I no longer was doing the show and we were going out for traditional birthday, and that included cake. Now, I wish I could say that was the moment that I was like, I realized I was an over-exerciser. I want to say that was the moment that I realized I was overdoing it. But here's the thing, right? I was the fit one, the disciplined one, the consistent one, the girl who's at fitness competitions. And, if I'm being honest, in hindsight, it was a place that I had control of my life. At the time, I hated my job. I hated my boss. And this was my escape, right? The gym was where I got to run away from my boss after, he would say something shitty to me and I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to go to the gym. And that's where I took it out. Okay, real talk here. who is done with starting over every single Monday? You know the drill. Like this week, I'm going to be on point. I'm going to track every bite, every step, and finally stay on plan. And then the weekend comes, someone asks you to go out, and you're like, I think chips and guac count as a food group. Here's the thing. You don't need any more rules. I know that. You don't need any more discipline. You know what you actually need? You need something that actually works for your real life, not your Pinterest life, not for your life that when things don't go crazy, not for your life when the kids aren't running around. You need something that is going to help you navigate when life gets messy. And that is why I'm running a 5 days to Unbothered, a free live experience starting on Sunday, September 28th. 5 days, only 15 minutes, zero food police. We're going to bust your earn your joy myth, quiet the food guilt, the workout guilt, and show you how to feel good in your body without living with a calorie or macro spreadsheet. You'll get live coaching with me, replays on a private podcast, and a community of women who, like you, are done with the struggle. So this is your sign to stop waiting for that perfect time, because honestly, every day should feel effortless and ease in your life. So do me a favor, hop on that wait list. The link is in the show notes. You know, looking back, girlfriend, I was exhausted. You know, that workout, I talked myself into that workout for 30 minutes before I did that 90-minute workout. And I'm on that Stairmaster and I'm literally holding back tears on that Stairmaster. And it was that bus ride home that I was just like, is this my life? Right? I just had that, is that my life moment? And as I said, I didn't realize that should have been the pivotal moment for me, but it really wasn't. It was that pivotal moment for that. It was a crack, right? It was just like the first crack in my like foundation here. But here's what's interesting, right? And I think many of you can relate to this. You know how sometimes we think we're being disciplined, but we're actually being desperate. And I was being desperate. And if you're nodding your head right now, I know exactly where you are. I've been there. And I'm building something for those people who are having that, like, isn't that my life moment? And in the show notes, I'm building an interest list for it, obligation free, hop on the interest list. And I promise you, what's coming, you're going to absolutely love it. So let's fast forward. So like several years later, I'm in Hawaii. I'm celebrating a big birthday and I'm talking to a local, and I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you go to the beach every day? And she's like, I come as many days as I can. And there was never any talk about earning her downtime, no guilt for coming to the beach, no worry about how she looked. It was just like, I love the beach. It's my joy. It's my happy place. And I'm going to try to squeeze in as much joy and happiness as I possibly can. And as I, looked back at that trip, for the months leading up to the trip, I thought I needed to look a certain way, right? It was a big birthday. That's where we were going. And so I dieted my ass off. And guess what? I didn't hit my goal. Nope. I didn't hit my goal. And so my head was like, this is going to be a great fucking trip. Because it was all about how I looked. And thinking that other people, I'm on a beach in Hawaii. I don't know nobody. I only know my husband. Thinking that other people are going to judge me. And this woman sitting on the beach, a few chairs down, she could give a shit about that. All it was about soaking up the amazing beach vibes. And it got me thinking, like, how do I get to that I don't give a shit moment? How do I get to that I don't give a shit place where I'm just here in the moment, no noise, no like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I get off this beach? Oh, I'm going to have to work to earn this. Oh my God, I should have gotten up earlier to go to the beach before this, right? Where do I stop the hustle, the grind, the constantly thinking about being leaner, being the fittest person in the room, feeling like I need to be worthy to earn the results, worthy to own sitting on the beach, soaking in some freaking good vibes? And here's where it hit me. A few years earlier, I made this offhand comment and I said, I live the flip-flop life. And back then it was really about travel. But now I realize that it's about so much more. I spent so much time focused on how things should be, right? Focus on my imaginary self-imposed deadlines that I made up in my head that no one else knew but me, like no one else told me accountable, but God knows my inner critic is like a freaking gang member. Here I am chasing outside validation versus finding ease and flow. And now, like, what if I told you, like, everything you've been taught about being healthy is actually what's keeping you stuck, right? I don't know how many times women approach me for coaching and like, "Kim, I'm just stuck," or I read something on social media about being stuck, right? Now I know that my obsession was turning me into a desperate dieter, right? I was always chasing the next diet fix. Not just, I was stuck in a diet cycle and like I was stuck in my head, right? I was stuck in the obsession. I was stuck in the, "Ugh, why can't I just enjoy life mode?" Because I was always grinding. I was always wondering, could I be doing more? Wondering, was it enough? Wondering if I'm being honest, am I enough? Right? I always felt that there was always this like proving. I was proving myself to like some unknown judge, and the judge was me and my standards. Oh, impossible, impossible. They're standards that I would never impose on a client. Right? I was like, if I wasn't doing all the things, all my 500 checklists, then I sucked. Right? And because like, here's what no one talks about, right? Whether you're spending 90 minutes at the gym 6 days a week, that was me. Whether you're weighing and measuring every bite, you're stressed about eating out because you don't know how to track it, so you don't go, or you go and you just say, fuck it, you're not living. You're performing, right? You're performing. You're the good girl. You're the diet girl. You're the inspiration. And the crazy part, right? You think that you're being good. You think that like that there's some like reward that's going to happen for you. You think you're being disciplined, but you're really being a desperate dieter, right? In designer workout clothes. Like, and you know what's wild is like I was so fired up after that Hawaiian realization, right? Because everything I just said, that was me, right? I thought all the things I was doing was the road to health, the road to happiness, the road to achievement. And it just was the road to crazy. And so I was so fired up about this Hawaiian revelation that I went home and I wrote this entire manifesto, like about living life differently. You know how big I am into journaling, right? So I wrote this huge manifesto. Who am I to write a manifesto? I don't know, but I wrote it. And that was me 6 years ago, right? And 6 years, I didn't do bupkis with it. I hid it in a folder on my computer because honestly, it scared me, right? I wondered, like, is this possible? Am I ready, right? What if other people think I am batshit crazy? Because most people think the flip-flop life is about travel, but it's about the feeling of I no longer care. I am unbothered. I'm doing my best, right? And that right there was a hard moment for me. You know, it was like, can I do my best and be okay with it, right? My manifesto starts off like this. Like, I am a woman over 40 who has kissed too many diet frogs and chased too many promises. I've spent decades micromanaging every single bite, every step, every calorie, and I'm done, right? That's where it's like I got to that I'm done place. And maybe some of you listening, you're in that I'm done place too. Like you're nodding along right now. And yeah, that gave me chills because I don't really know where that came from. You know, a lot of times when I journal, I don't really know what I'm going to write. And a lot of times I write, what do I need to know? And that's what came out, right? That's what came out. And my journaling didn't start out to be a manifesto, but turned into one. But that gave me chills because it was the first time I admitted out loud that going hard, being disciplined wasn't working for me anymore. And it crushed my former identity. Right? because I was speaking my truth. My truth really started crying on that Stairmaster, but all my friends competed and I liked being with my friends. I didn't know anything else. I hated my job. I didn't know how to get out of my shitty job. And so I just kind of kept on the hamster wheel, right? And if we can pause here for just a second, because I know some of you are listening to this and you're like, oh my God, that's me, right? I've had the Stairmaster moment. I've had the why can't I just enjoy the beach moment? And let me ask you this, how long are you even trying to earn your worth through your workouts? How many Monday fresh starts have you had this year alone? Let's not even talk about over the last several decades. And here's the big one. When was the last time you enjoyed a meal? Looked at your body and didn't say, what the fuck? Enjoyed movement without calculating, does this count? Or how many steps did I do? Do you go through life without tracking and judging? Oh, wait. Because here's what I know, right? The problem isn't your willpower. The problem isn't that you're not disciplined enough. The problem isn't motivation. The problem is us ladies, we have been sold a system. And a system that doesn't work. And instead of thinking it's the system, we always think it's about us. Oh, if I just tried harder, more willpower, more motivation, more discipline. Girlfriend, what if it's the system? What if it's not you? What if you are just doing the best you can, but you're trying to put yourself into a system that doesn't work? That's the best example I can give you is math is not my jam. That's like me putting myself into advanced calculus. And I'm literally 1 + 1 = 2. That's my basic math. Me sitting down in an advanced calculus class, the teacher assumes I know all the background of calculus. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm trying to make this work, right? That's what we do all the time. We try to throw ourselves into that deep end and we're just like, oh, I really can't swim that good. And wonder why we always feel like we're drowning, right? The manifesto continues about I'm done being a desperate dieter. I ask myself better questions. And I think, if you've listened to this for a while, one of the people that I help me in my mindset shift, my identity shift was Tony Robbins. And he always says, when I ask myself better questions, I get better answers. And I started to ask myself better questions. Instead of the negative questions, I started asking myself, things I was doing. And this is both health as well as life, as well as work, all the things. I kept asking myself questions without judgment, right? Without bashing. It was is what I'm doing realistic? I see so many of you are like, oh, I'm only eating 1,200 calories. Is that realistic? Does that make you feel hungrier when you're only eating 1,200 calories? Are you excited about this? And how does this fit into your real life? Not your Pinterest perfect life, not on the days that if all the stars align. I'm talking the messy days where kids get sick, boss drops something on your desk and it's due Monday morning at 9, those kind of days. That's when the rubber meets the road, right? You see what happened here's what happens, right? Instead of asking, why can't I stick to this? I started asking myself, why would I want to stick to this, right? I had a client and when she first started with me, I said, okay, here are your goals. I said, what are you doing for workouts? And she's like, I just signed up for this 6-week boot camp. You go 5 days a week and it's at 6 a.m, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, good. You sound excited about it. So then about a couple weeks in, she was like, oh, it's really hurting my joints. Oh, I'm not really doing well getting up in the morning. And then she just did all this complaining. And I said, may I ask why you're sticking with it? And she's like, well, I already prepaid for it. I'm like, okay, I feel that. And then she's like, they also told me I would lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And that's when I get so mad, right? I get so mad because you hear the 20 pounds, but you don't ask yourself the question, Is getting up early realistic for you? Are you excited about, one, getting up super early in the morning? Are you excited about, some type of kickbox boot camp? And does it actually fit into your life? Right? And those, if we get excited about the 20 pounds, but then we don't take a step back and we just ask ourselves the hard questions, right? And I feel you, because we have so much self-judgment when it comes around our bodies. We have so much self-judgment. It's like, well, if I could just be more disciplined and this program is going to make me more disciplined, is the program going to make you more disciplined? Or do you need to take a pause and ask yourself harder questions, right? Because one of the pieces of my manifesto, and this part really hit me in the feels as I was writing it, it's that I'm done making self-judgment on my body, because if I'm being honest, no one is judging me as hard as I'm judging myself, right? Do you need to lose 20 pounds? Or have you told yourself back before the baby, back in high school, 10 years ago, this is what I weighed, and so I should weigh that? Where I know that most of you are chasing not a scale, but more body composition change. And changing your body composition has nothing to do with the scale. Changing your body composition is, how do I lose body fat, build some muscle, so that I look leaner and not fluffy. And so the other part of the manifesto is I'm letting myself off this unrealistic hook. So I want you to let yourself off that unrealistic hook. The hook that says, I need to be a certain weight. I need to be 150 pounds. And so people are like, well, I feel better at 150 pounds. And it's that was 15 years ago. Would you rather have the energy of 15 years ago or be the scale weight of 15 years ago? Right? Those are the hard questions that you have to ask yourself. Because when you let yourself off the unrealistic hook, you grant yourself permission to just be the beautiful human being that you are. Permission to ask yourself better questions, to permission to let yourself off that hook, permission to stop making health about being perfect, or treating it like it's a second job, because honey, we already got enough side hustles. Okay. We're Uber to our kids, and we're, best friends and spouses and partners and all the things. And, what finally gave me the courage to share this is that my mentor, Rachel Luna, she passed away a few weeks ago. And she was always telling me, Kim, make a decision and make it work. I wouldn't have this podcast if it wasn't for her. I overthought the shit out of this podcast. And she's like, Kim, make a decision and make it work. It was stop overthinking the shit out of everything. I can't even tell you how many times my clients approach me and they're overthinking so many things. And I'm guilty of it too, right? You overthink things ad nauseum, we're trying to bring peace to the Middle East. We're trying to cure cancer. And so she said, Kim, stop overthinking and just do it. And this podcast is born. I'm almost 6 years into this podcast, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. And then I paused and I thought, what am I waiting for? Permission? Permission from who? A sign from where? And actually I did get a sign. It was from Rachel. She was whispering in my ear and using her famous words, you have permission to offend. Because I was who am I to shift the thinking around what weight loss looks like? I have been talking about weight loss and fitness for over 15 years. And I was scared, right? What if you guys listen to this podcast and you've made it this far and you're screw off, Kim, maybe something stronger. Or you're well, unfollow. So here's my permission to offend. And guess what, right? The women who are exhausted and they're just done will love it. And they're going to keep listening. And for the women who are still want to count macros, still be told what to do and how to get it done and grind and hustle, you're going to run. And that's okay, right? You exhausted women, you are ready for the slow hustle, ready to make living life feel effortless, right? The healthy is just who you are, what you do. Like, you don't have to earn it. It's just done. And because I'm building something specifically for you, something that really honors where you are right now, whether you're feeling completely drawn towards a different way, do me a favor, you belong in this movement, right? I'm actually, here I am. I'm calling it a movement. I'm being bold, right? I am taking that permission to offend you, permission to grab you by the shoulder and say life can be different. Click it in the show notes and come along on the journey, right? Because I've been talking about the flip-flop life for about a decade, but I was too scared to really own it, to really share it, and not anymore. Because here's the thing. I'm always going to work out. I love how my body feels. If I go too long without working out, I ache for it. But I'm no longer about soul-crushing workouts that every workout I have to feel sore or sweating profusely for it to count, right? Now it's about a 4 to 5 day a week. Sometimes it's 3, and it's no more than an hour. I'm still going to eat well, but I'm not going to be tied to macros or the good food, bad food list. Like it's the 10 Commandments, right? Then, coming down from Mount Sinai and being like, this is how it's done. And I'm going to focus on being strong and powerful so that I am not sitting at the Palm Beach airport waiting for a wheelchair. I want to not need a walker till I'm at least 100, and not so that I can look good in a bathing suit. And if I can look good in the bathing suit, that's icing on the cake, but that's not the cake. And yeah, I care about longevity. I want to feel good in my body. Like, it doesn't, sure, I can look great at 50, but like, what does 80 look like? What does 80 feel like? I want to be the strongest old lady in the nursing home and live this long, healthy, vibrant life. And here's what's beautiful about the shift, right? The flip-flop life isn't about giving up on the health. It's about giving up on the hustle that has been stealing our joy slowly over the last several decades. And it's about asking ourselves, what if healthy didn't have to be hard? What if you could just trust your body, versus following some self-imposed rule book that you're not even sure where you got the damn rules from, or are they even working for you anymore? What if you could eat without calculating every single bite? What if you can go out on a date with your sweetie and not be like, I can't have the pancakes, or, I'm not going to have an espresso martini even though I want one, right? What if it could be more about what feels good, not because you have to? And imagine waking up on a Monday and your first thought isn't, all right, this week I'm going to be on point. Imagine going on vacation and actually enjoying it. Instead of feeling like I need a diet in order to get on the beach, I need a diet in order to go to the family reunion. Imagine looking in the mirror and thinking, I'm doing the best with what I got, instead of finding every little thing that's wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with you. That's the flip-flop life. And it's not some fantasy. It's available to you right now. So if this is hitting you right in the feels, which I'm hoping it is, if I've just articulated what you couldn't, I got you. Because if you're tired of the Monday diet starts, the Thursday crashes, the Sundays, if you're ready to try something that feels more like freedom and less like prison, I want to invite you to something bigger. Extended program. This is a movement. The link in the show notes, I'm going to add you to the interest list. You'll get the full manifesto that I've been hiding for 6 years. So if you just want to read the manifesto, and I'll keep you posted as I build something for us exhausted ladies who are ready for a different way. Because babe, you don't need another meal plan. You don't need another workout program. You don't need to try harder. You need permission to do it differently. And I'm here to tell you, permission granted. So let's give it a try, right? It's going to feel, this is what I know, it's going to feel awkward, but it's going to be okay. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone, but it'll be okay. And you know what? It's going to be more than okay. You're going to be free. And hey, I'm going to challenge you this week. Go out and do something that feels easy. Put on the flip-flops. Even if you're listening to this in the winter and it's 3 degrees outside, put them on in your house. Take a walk because it feels good. Order the fries because you want them. Not order the salad because you should. You are not broken, my queens. You are just ready for something different. And that something different is called a flip-flop life. And I can't wait to live it with you. Remember, your permission is now granted. And if you're interested in hearing more about this, make sure you hop on the interest list because I'm building it and it's just, I'm pretty much vibrating right now and I'm trying to contain it all inside. All right, Soul Hustlers, I will talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.